vlogs. Today we'll be speaking just about expectations, coming over some of the questions I had that I couldn't get information on, and also just some points to touch on what to expect moving over, cost wise, and everything that comes with that. So we're just going to run through it and take it point by point and just work through it, and hopefully it helps you. As when I moved over, there was very little information coming across from a South African's perspective, because it felt like everywhere I looked, it was the reality set here was extremely high life. So having a look at apartments, it was everything very top end apartment stuff that cost you a lot of money in a month, and that made me stress. There's a lot of things that made me stress coming over. I pushed it off previously coming, and because there was a lot of things that I was scared about, and that was a big move for me. So I'm just going to touch on some points, and hopefully it helps you, get you through just enough motivation to push to do the move, to do the jump. It's a scary one, but you do it for the bigger picture of everything. Okay, so I've noted down some things to chat about that I thought would be just good to know. We're starting with moving costs. Coming over, initial costs, there's not too much, because a lot of times your company that you'll work for that's sponsoring you, they will carry a lot of the costs, such as flights, putting you in accommodation for the first week, and then from there on, depending on which job you go for, a lot of jobs come with housing allowances, so they do assist you with getting you set up in housing and getting you comfortable. For me, I came across with not too much spare money, because it was a very last minute decision, so it wasn't something that I was planning on doing at all, and I survived. I came across, I could eat, I could sleep in a nice bed with aircon, not with warmth, because it is extremely hot the time I came. And then with that, there's a lot of hidden costs, stuff like if you do end up getting apartments, there's a lot of down payments and things that you're gonna have to pay. So just make sure when you come across, it's not a cheap exercise, but it's not something that will absolutely push you to death. We always say give the first year, with everything that comes over, getting yourself settled with vehicles, getting yourself settled with maybe rental cars, places to stay, and everything that comes with that. It is not an easy one, but once you've settled, it makes life a lot easier. When I came across, I was here for 2 months, and I was going back to South Africa because I had a trip planned with my fiance. So it was a bit of a panicked time for me, because I didn't have my Emirates ID yet, and without your Emirates ID, it's very difficult to be able to sign contract, because you do need checks from the bank. So I was pushing for that, finally got it, been able to get my place. I looked at one place, just took it. It was well priced, a little bit more expensive than what I wanted, but well priced for what it was. And with that, you set up. You come back to a place to stay. That's in my opinion the biggest worry. As soon as you've got a place to stay, everything else is pretty simple. Number 2 that I wanted to chat about is expectations. Moving over to Dubai from South Africa, my expectations was, in South Africa we've got a lot of leniency with pretty much everything. I was very scared of coming over with all the rules, coming and offending someone, that ending up super bad. But coming here, it was very easy in a way. It was definitely not what my expectations was sitting back home. Getting here, it was a bit of a culture shock to me. Coming here, having to kind of live a life that you're going to have to start yourself now, and living to your own expectations. A lot of people come over and want to live the high life, can't afford it, swipe credit cards, and then you end up having a horrible time. I tried to avoid that coming here, trying to live the life that I'd lived back home just here, and that helped a lot, coming with that mentality. But at the end of the day, it is Dubai. You have to be respectful to everybody around. You're definitely not back home. You can't have road rage, you can't get out, you can't swear at people and want to fight people. It's not how it works. It's they've got cameras, they've got everything recorded. They are strict, but they do give you a lot of leniency, and it's something to get used to. It's a lot safer than what it is back home. You come here, you can walk at night anytime. You can walk in what you would refer as a dodgy place here, but you're absolutely safe. I had to get used to that, coming here, being able to leave your phone on a table and it being there if you come back. It's not something that you have to get used to and just living that life of not caring, but if you do, it's not the end of the world and you'll be able to get away with it. So the expectations that I had in mind back home was definitely not the expectations or the reality that I got here. I was very scared of the rules. The rules are there for a reason, and it's not horrible rules, it's everything that you'll be able to live with. So the move was a good one. It's still tough to this day. There's a lot of things that you still get used to. You're still having to work around. Missing family, a big thing, and then also not having the fiance here, that adds to life and everything here being a little bit tougher, but everything will happen in due course. I think a big one, point number 3, is probably people. Coming here, there's a lot of language barriers and cultural changes and different ways of doing things. So coming from South Africa, where you're used to being able to interact with absolutely everybody and everybody that understands you, it is completely different here. There's a lot of cultures, there's a lot of ways of doing things, and the way that people are as a person that you have to get used to, but you get used to it very quickly. Nobody's rude, nobody is against you, everybody has just got their ways to do things. So in South Africa, you used to greet people quite a lot. Yeah, you greet, not everybody always greets back, but it's something to get used to. You get used to the way that people are. It is definitely completely different than what it is back home, but you live with it, and it's not unpleasant. It's just a lot of people are doing their own things. Okay, 4th is probably housing costs. Coming from South Africa, it was a big one for me, moving over here with costs. In the first little bit, like I said, a lot of times the company that you work for, they assist you with that first little bit of accommodation, but that comes to an end at certain points depending on your company. A lot of times they assist right through till you get your own place. They helped me, but I had to cover my own cost after about a week and a half, and that worked out quite expensive. On average, it was about 2,500 dirhams for probably about a 2-week period, so about 10 days. It was on average about 200 dirhams a night to 250 dirhams a night, and then I ended up finding a place for a month at a fairly good price of about 4,500 to 5,000 dirhams for a month, which is quite a bit if you convert it back to rands. And then as soon as I did that and I finished, I found a place. As soon as my ID came and I opened my bank account with my checks, I was able to find myself a long-term period. How it works in Dubai is you do everything via checks or you do upfront. So you either do pay for a year's rent, or it would be that you can do it in 2 checks, 4 checks, 6 checks, 12 checks. So it's all dependent. The more checks, normally it's more expensive compared to doing 2 or 4 checks. So I did 4 checks. So for me, it would be 4 times a year I would pay for my rent. The thing is, I was lucky. I rented from a guy who had all the electricity, water, all of those costs already covered. So I didn't have to do any deposits or anything. I literally paid him his agency fee. That's another thing. Agency fees here is you're essentially paying it's like a commission that you'll pay to the agent when moving in. It varies depending where you stay. Negotiating, it can be anything from 2,000 to 5,000 dirhams for the agency fees. And then, like I was saying, I was lucky enough that I didn't have to pay any deposits on what they're called dewa, or emi-cool. Emi-cool is your cooling in your place, or your AC, and then you'll get dewa, which is your electricity and water. I was lucky enough not to have to pay any deposits because the agent who was leasing this place, it was his uncle's, so everything was already done. I kind of just moved in, and at the end of the month I just pay for my electricity, water, and AC that I use, so my air conditioning. I just pay for what I use, and then my rent, like I said, I pay 4 times a year for that. So that's a big thing to take into consideration when you wanting to get a place for yourself. The big thing would be having to put down the first, call it 3 months, or the first 2 months, or first 6 months of your rent. Then you'll have to pay your agency fees, depending on the agent. You'll have to pay your deposits for your dewa, your emi-cool. If you have gas, then you have to pay to get your gas installed or switched on. So there's a lot of costs with setting yourself up initially in getting a place to rent, but then as soon as you've got that, it's quite easy. That deposits a lot of time carry over, so once you've paid the deposit, it's in your account with dewa or with your emi-cool. It just carries on, so it makes life a little bit easier, but still it's quite a tough one. That initial cost, carrying those costs, it's not an easy one, and that's what we tell a lot of people coming across. It's also very much dependent on the time of year you come. If you come in winter, when it's season, it's extremely expensive. Places become a lot more expensive, and then also if you come in summer, it's not as expensive because a lot of people leave Dubai. It does get a little bit cheaper for you to be able to get apartments. So this time of year, so call it anything from May, June, July, it's when you'll be able to get a slightly better priced accommodation. Okay, fifth, it's probably the one I struggled with in the beginning and the most, is transportation, getting yourself from point A to point B. Luckily now I've leased a car, so it's renting it for a longer period. This has helped me quite a bit now with being able to get around. Before that, you used to be able to either take bus, taxi, there is the metro, so you do get a lot of public transport. The only thing is it does take a while, and it is a little bit of a mission. It just makes your trip a little bit longer. So for argument's sake, with the bus, I'm in Sport City. I was working in Al Quoz area, so it would take me about 20 to 25 minutes the journey, but then you'd have to wait for the bus first. You have to get off the bus, and the bus runs every 20 minutes, so it's not that if you miss the bus, you're waiting 20 minutes for next one. And then taxiing it's easy, but it is expensive. As a South African, it's expensive. On average, my trips would be between 30 to 60 dirhams depending where I'm going. I think the most expensive one I had was about 98 dirhams, but that was substantially far. So it is something to take in mind when coming over. There's a lot of car rentals. Car rentals, absolutely perfect. You can do that on your passport. You don't have to have your Dubai driving license. You just have to have your license back home for us South Africans, and that makes also renting. I rented a car for a month. The best that I could find was about 1,700 dirhams at the time. So again, it is quite a lot more expensive. I currently pay for my car 1,300 dirhams. So renting a car, very good option, gives you a lot of freedom to do what you want to, but it does cost you a little bit more. On top of that, it's fuel. Fuel here is a lot cheaper than back home. I fill up my tank fully for about 85 dirhams, and I do that about 4 times a month, so every week. So at the end of the day, if you look at transport, and it does work out a lot easier having your own car, but bus and public transport is just as easy. On average, a trip is about 5 to 7 dirhams one way. So if I'm doing a trip, it will cost me about 14 to 15 dirhams on the bus for a day. And then if you're looking at metro, I barely ever use the metro, so I can't exactly give pricing on that. But it works just as well. I've done it once or twice, but it's a very easy, and it works just as good as your bus. Okay, topic number 6 is food. So if you're looking at food in Dubai, you can do it either really expensive or you can live on quite a comfortable budget with food. I budget about 1,000 dirhams to 1,100, just depending on how the month is going. On average, you can get away with a lot cheaper. That 1,000 I do include takeaways, going out with friends, or being able to get stuff that is a little bit more expensive or a little bit nicer in the times that you want it. So stuff that you do want or craving. There's many supermarkets here that you can go to and get stuff at completely different pricing. So I personally shop a lot at Viva. Viva is your slightly cheaper option in Dubai. On average, a trip that will get me enough food to last a week would be about 180 to 200 dirhams. That will be 2 proper bags with enough food to keep me going, with snacks, everything that comes with it. And then you can also, there's Waitrose, there is Grandiose, there's a lot of other supermarkets as well, there's Spinneys, and that is your slightly more expensive options. If you're coming here to live on a budget, it is a little bit more expensive, where you can get very much the same quality product at Viva for half the price, if not cheaper. So to me, Viva is always the go-to place if I want to get my daily stuff. So water, cereals, and then just your staple stuff, rice, anything like that. It is just a lot cheaper. And then going out, we're getting takeaways. There's a lot of takeaway options. You've got Talabat, you've got Kareem, Noon, Deliveroo, and most of the times all of them will have very good specials, like 50% off, and that also helps a lot with your being able to eat out at a slightly cheaper pricing. Going out, going to the mall, going to restaurants, that does become quite expensive if you do end up doing that frequently. On average, I would say evening out could be anything from about 100 to about 200 dirhams, depending on what you're eating, where you're eating, and then also depending if you're having beers or if you're having any alcohol. That is quite expensive here if you convert. I've been here, like I said, now 9 months, going on my 10th month, and I still convert back to rands, and sometimes it hurts, but you must start having that mindset of if it's 50 dirhams, it's 50 rand, and stuff is then very much the same pricing as what it is back home as what it would be here. And my last topic is, I'm just going to talk about the general Dubai safety, what you get. Dubai is amazing with that type of stuff. Safety is extremely good here. Like I said previously, you can walk around middle of the night, not have a single worry. There's always people up and about in Dubai. It feels like nobody ever that there's nobody out. There's always somebody walking around, always people out having a good time. So it does make life a lot easier being able to go out. Currently I'm sitting in the design district in this very cool park. It is 9 o'clock at night and there's still people playing basketball. There's a lot of people around, people still working in offices. So it is extremely safe to be able to walk in. It's not just as a man, as a woman, as a child. It is extremely safe. The other thing to me is the amenities that they give you. Being in the cycling industry, if you go to the cycling tracks, they give you a whole experience pretty much. At the track, call it Maidan or Al Qudra, there is showers, there's restaurants, there's a lot of things around those areas. They're very big on health in Dubai. There's a lot of skate parks around, people playing, like I said, basketball. And then at the cycling tracks, you get showers, you get public bathrooms, that's extremely clean with hot running water, and then just the infrastructure works extremely well. We had floods recently on the cycling track. It flooded our whole cycling track away. Within 2 weeks it was completely rebuilt, and it's back to normal. It's extremely insane how quick everything works here and how good it works. Okay, I think that is it for tonight. I hope I didn't bore you too much. I hope I was able to give you some information. In future, I'll take you guys on a day in the life, going grocery shopping, showing you what the prices are, and what you can expect kind of in a day here in Dubai. Again, as a normal person, somebody that doesn't spend excessive amounts of money, and that's able to put away a decent amount of money, paying off debt back home, and being able to set yourself up quite a nice future. I guess one last thing I could probably discuss is having a look at, a lot of people always ask what to expect monthly salary wise. In my opinion, if you're single or if you come with a partner, in my opinion, if you don't want to live the super high end lifestyle, you want to live a comfortable lifestyle, being able to put away money, I would say if you could get 15,000 dirhams, that would be a comfortable lifestyle. I know a lot of people would laugh and say, how do you live on that? But it's coming from South Africa, you can get quite a comfortable life on that. Being two people, most of the time you will have dual income. In Dubai, dual income is a huge thing. If you can have dual income, you can live off of one and pretty much save majority of the second income. For me, if I had to bring my fiance over, we could live on my salary that I currently earn. If she had to come and get a job and being able to earn as well, it will be a huge benefit. We'll be able to save a lot, being able to travel a lot. So yeah, individual, if you come here and you get an offer between even 10 to 12, I would say you'd be able to live on that quite comfortably, being able to put away money and living a comfortable lifestyle. That would be more than enough. Obviously, try and push. There's always negotiating in Dubai. Push for as much as you can, because every 500 dirhams or 1,000 dirhams for people that come here with a normal lifestyle, it's a lot, and it does help. So have a good evening. Thank you so much for joining, and then I'll see you on the next one. Let me know if there's anything that you guys would like to know or would like to see here in Dubai. I'm more than happy to take you guys around, show you the life, and show you what Dubai is actually like.